What is the drama behind Olivia Culpo's wedding dress? What is this controversy? This is what we're going to discuss today. Why did so many people hate her dress? Why are so many people sticking up for it? And then we're going to talk about this Dazed magazine headline that says women are attracted to feminine men, and they call it the fruity boy trend. And I will explain to you exactly how this relates to mass amounts of women taking the birth control pill. It sounds like it doesn't go together, but I promise you I'm going to explain to you why. So that's what we're going to do today. Hopefully we can get to all of it. Welcome to The Shift with Gina, a show where we talk about women's issues and especially how to build healthy whole women to build stronger families and a more thriving society. So let's talk about Olivia Culpo's wedding dress. Who is she? If you don't know who Olivia Culpo is, I've known about her for a long time. I love her. In my opinion, she's one of the most beautiful women on planet Earth right now. She is an American fashion influencer, social media personality, but she really rose to fame after winning the Miss Rhode Island USA competition, which eventually led her to be crowned to Miss USA and then Miss Universe in 2012. So she's like a true beauty queen. Since she won all those pageants, she has built a pretty successful career, especially in the world of fashion. Lots of followers on social media. I'm not sure exactly how many, but she's appeared in various TV shows and movies, and she's a pretty significant presence online, and people know her in this whole world of celebrities and influencers. She's collaborated with high-profile brands. Everyone knows who Olivia Culpo is. I mean, at least most people do. She's also known for dating in the past Nick Jonas and Tim Tebow, and she just got married to NFL player Christian McCaffrey. I believe he's a San Francisco 49er. I'm not sure. I'm not that well versed in NFL. It's not really my sport, but they are the most beautiful couple. They're just like, both of them are genetically blessed. And when you see them together, they're like picture perfect couple. They're gorgeous. And of course, her wedding caused a really big stir. Of course it did. I mean, is a wedding ever any good? Is a celebrity wedding any good if it doesn't cause any stir, any drama or controversy? She and Christian, it feels like they've been engaged for a while, maybe just because I've followed her for a long time. I just feel like we were waiting so long for them to get married. It was like an event that we were waiting for. There was so much excitement leading up to it. All the engagement events were beautiful and the pre-wedding events were gorgeous. It reminds me a little bit of Sophia Richie's wedding, like the build up to that. That build up was a little bit shorter, I feel like, because I think they were engaged for a shorter amount of time. But just a gorgeous couple. I think Olivia and her family in general, they're just some of the most gorgeous people on the planet. I really like her sister too. I'm a fan of her sister, Aurora Culpo. I just feel like the sisters are obviously beautiful, but they've got great fashion. They're pretty classy. I'm overall a big fan of how family oriented they are. I think Olivia does a really, really good job of sort of staying out of the extreme political conversations that come out of Hollywood. And you see a lot of these influencers that just are dying to take an extremely progressive stance on things. And it just kind of gets annoying when the celebrities and influencers get in their soapbox and tell you who to vote for and what to believe in. And I think Olivia does a pretty good job of just staying in her lane, doing her thing, being beautiful, showing nice fashion. She loves showing photos of like her family. And I think they had or have a reality show on HBO. I've never seen it, but the Culpo sisters, something like that. Their little family and their group of friends, I think, are one of the rare examples of pretty good examples of young women to look up to in terms of influencers and celebs. So Olivia, of course, had a couple different looks for her wedding, as most women in her demographic do. They have 2, 3, maybe even 4 different dresses, one for the ceremony, one for the reception, one for the after party, whatever it might be. Sophia Richie Grange did the same thing. So let's take a look at Olivia's wedding dresses and then we will discuss. But first, let's hear a word from our sponsors. Ladies, did you know that if you have a menstrual cycle, you should be taking a prenatal multivitamin every day? Not only if you're trying to get pregnant or if you're pregnant or nursing. The prenatal multivitamin is great for women in their childbearing years, regardless of your pregnancy plan. So if you have a menstrual cycle, you should be taking a prenatal multivitamin every day. There are so many nutrients in here that are important for healthy hormones, a healthy menstrual cycle, a period that's much more manageable. It'll help reduce your menstrual cramps and PMS symptoms. And there's so many things in here that your body needs if you still have a menstrual cycle. And it's especially important to find a prenatal that has folate instead of folic acid. And it's actually kind of hard to find. There's so many prenatals out there that use folic acid, which is the synthetic form of folate that's not bioavailable to the body. So I highly recommend the First Form prenatal multivitamin. I've been taking this for 5 years, long before my first pregnancy. And it's a fantastic product. It gives you so much energy in the morning. It really helps to regulate your mood and your menstrual cycle. So I highly recommend it. Please use my affiliate link in the description in the show notes. Just click on that, make your first purchase. This company is also fantastic. They're very pro-America and patriotic, so it's a win-win. You know, you're supporting a company that has the same values as you, and they have excellent customer service. So if you need to make a return, it's 100% money, 110% money back guarantee. And let me know if you guys have any questions about the products. So here is the front angle of Olivia's wedding dress, the dress that she got married in. She wore to the ceremony, she wore to the church. Here it is. It's very simple, long sleeve, high neck, full skirt. The veil is very simple veil that's got detail around the edge of it, and it's very long and flowing down to the ground. Here's another angle. The back angle is gorgeous. Look at the volume there. See the volume as it's cascading down. If you're just listening to the audio, go online and just take a look at her wedding dress. Very simple silhouette. Couple more angles. She looks gorgeous. She just did a very simple part in the middle and hair fairly straight, cascading down her shoulders. They got married in Rhode Island because, if I'm not mistaken, Olivia is originally from Rhode Island. So the photos are just very picturesque. Here's another angle. I think that this was posted by Vogue Weddings. So you can see very, very simple. It's got some detailing, if I'm not mistaken, on the back, some button detailing. So that's what the first wedding dress looked like. Olivia's beautiful, right? And let me just tell you the very first thing that popped into my head when I saw these photos. And this is before, I promise, this is before I saw any commentary, before I saw any comments, before I saw any TikToks or responses to what her dress looked like. I looked at it and I honestly, if I'm being perfectly honest, I found it to be a little bit of a letdown. As stunning as Olivia is, I mean, of course, she's so beautiful, she could wear a trash bag and she would still look pretty. Sure, it reminds me of Monica Bellucci when she played Mother Mary in Passion of the Christ. Mel Gibson said that they tried to put more dirt on her to make her look a little bit uglier, but he said the more dirt they put on her face, the prettier she looked. That's sort of like Olivia Culpo to me. You just can't make her look bad. However, she's just so beautiful. I expected her dress to enhance her beauty more or to complement her better. I didn't feel like the fit was particularly nice. I thought the neckline was a little too boring. It looked kind of like a t-shirt on top. Again, I'm just giving you my initial opinions when I saw this dress. It just looked a little bit too simple for someone like Olivia. So when I saw the photo, before I even read any of what she said in the Vogue coverage of her wedding, I thought to myself, okay, she's going for a modest look. I respect that, of course. Anyone who's listened to my show, you know that people love to call me a prude. Motherhood, I swear, turns you into a prude. I don't know what it is. I turn more and more into a grandma every day. I love the modest look. I'm a fan of the modest look, sure. And so I felt like, okay, she was going for the modest look. I get that. But I just felt like it could have looked a little bit better. There's so many modest examples of wedding dresses, and I'm going to show you some later, that still have such a beautiful statement and help enhance the beauty of the bride even more. However, I loved her other wedding dresses. She had a few other dresses throughout the night that I thought really brought out her character and brought out her beauty. They were unique, high fashion. So let's take a look at some of them. So here's a look at, I think, the second one. I'm guessing this is the second dress. It's got I don't know what you call, like the drop shoulder. It looks sleeveless, but the sleeves have been all the way dropped down to her arms. And there's sort of like something around her neck that obviously kind of connects in the back. And I think this is so pretty. Here's another angle of it. Here it is. Here's the full length of it. I think that's so pretty. I think it's very Olivia Culpo. I think it accentuates her collarbone and her beautiful shoulders and her long neck with that little detail around the neck. Here's another really cute angle of it. I think she looks great. I really like this dress. So let's look at another one. This is sort of, I'm guessing, the after party dress. Yes. So she said in the caption, "Take me back to the after party." So this is a very unique little number. Okay. So as you can see, it's essentially like a little strapless bodysuit. And then it has this, I don't know how you explain it for those of you who are listening. Obviously, if you're watching, you can see it. It's like almost like a little cage that is very voluminous and it's sheer and it's got all these beautiful flowers on it. And she has the gloves, the full length gloves. And then again, a detail around her neck, which really accentuates her long neck. She's got such a beautiful chest shoulder area, like what is décolletage area, whatever it's called, the French word for it. So I love this number. I think it's adorable. I think it looks great on her. I think it's very Olivia, very photogenic. Not everyone liked this number, but I thought it was great. So anyway, those are the main dresses she wore. And like I said, I think the very first one that she wore to the actual ceremony for me was a little bit of a letdown, because you know how girls are when we wait for a celebrity's wedding day, you're expecting like this amazing dress. I thought Sophia Richie's dress was incredible. All of her dresses, some of the best dresses I think I've ever seen. But I felt like this one was just a little bit of a letdown. And this is not a dig at Olivia, obviously. I mean, she's one of the few influencers and celebs that I really like. I like her. I like her brand. I like her whole shtick. She is still one of the most beautiful brides ever. I just felt like this one fell a little short. If you disagree with me, that's okay. That's okay. Let me know in the comment section. You might have loved it. But my issue with the dress, of course, is nothing to do with the fact that it was modest. And like I said, you guys know me. I'm a big fan of dressing modestly. However, it was brought to my attention. People started sending me stuff, and apparently she was being attacked over this dress. And there were a lot of TikTokers making big statements about the level of modesty of this dress. It was a controversy. There was this not wedding planner. She calls herself, I think, a wedding dress, not a designer, stylist maybe. Anyway, her TikTok handle is Gown Eyed Girl. And the caption of this TikTok is, "From Miss Universe to Miss Pick Me, Olivia Culpo is earning her crown." And it's a 6-minute video of this girl essentially bashing Olivia's dress. And she starts out the video by saying, "I've been a wedding dress stylist for 4 years. I've never said this before. I do not like this." And that's fine. You don't have to like it. Again, like I wasn't really a big fan of it either. But then she goes into this big breakdown of Olivia's interview with Vogue. And apparently Olivia told Vogue that she wanted her wedding dress to be very modest and not to exude anything sexual. I think they got married in a Catholic church. Somebody fact check me on that. They definitely got married in a Christian church, because for what I know, Olivia's Christian. She might be Catholic. I don't know. Maybe is, because most Hispanics are Catholic. But she said that when they were in the church saying their vows, she didn't want to wear anything that was revealing. And her now husband, Christian, also said he wanted her to be covered up when they were in the church saying their vows. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But this gown-eyed girl obviously had a huge issue with it. And she goes on this long rant. It's just a word salad about how it doesn't matter what you wear, because somebody's always going to sexualize you. And so you make it sound like people sexualizing you is your choice, when it's really not your choice. It's just, and she made it sound like we live in this horrible, bad world where men will just sexualize you no matter what you wear. And you could be totally covered up in a burqa and men will sexualize you. Completely ignoring the fact that, yes, there is a reality where what you choose to wear, of course, is much more likely to result in somebody sexualizing you. And this is something that most progressive feminists hate to admit. They refuse to admit that what you wear oftentimes sends very specific messages about your values. It sends messages about how you want men to approach you. Does that mean that men are always going to approach you reflective of how you're dressed? Not necessarily, but it is true. And feminists hate to admit this. It is true that when you dress modestly, you are staving off a lot of opportunities for people to sexualize you. And that's sort of what Olivia was saying. She wanted to go into her wedding ceremony feeling like she was wearing something modest. I don't know why there's anything wrong with that. Of course, feminists, they're all about independence and choosing whatever you want for yourself until a woman chooses something that they don't like, that they chooses something like modesty or marriage, or heaven forbid, someone saving their virginity until marriage. I'm not saying that Olivia did that, but I'm just saying like these are the things that progressive feminists don't want women to choose. So it's not okay if you choose these things. They want you to choose your life, but not those things. So she went on this long rant. And like I said, it's 6 minutes long. I'm not even going to punish you by playing it. You can go watch it yourself. But then she started criticizing Olivia because her after party dress was more revealing. And she was saying that Olivia just did all of this to be a pick-me girl. And she was saying this is just a conservative agenda. She was saying things like, if you're so concerned about your marriage and your union with your husband, why are you talking to Vogue about your wedding? It just seems like you're putting so much more energy into pushing a conservative agenda than actually getting married. And she politicized this whole thing. Now, keep in mind, Olivia's Vogue interview was not political at all. Like I said before, Olivia does a pretty good job of staying politically neutral. She doesn't get involved in these silly, petty things that influencers and celebrities do. And so she didn't make any political statements in her Vogue interview. She just said she and her husband wanted her to dress very conservatively for the actual wedding ceremony. And this infuriated Gown-Eyed Girl and many girls on the internet. But I will say this about Gown-Eyed Girl's review of Olivia's dress. I agree with a lot of what Gown-Eyed Girl said about the dress itself. And I felt like she was articulating some of the things that I was feeling when I first looked at her dress. Gown-Eyed Girl was saying, I have seen very many modest dresses that are just more beautiful than this. And she named off a couple people, but I want to show a couple examples as well, because this is not a criticism of modesty in wedding dresses, because I think there are a lot of modest wedding dresses, even some that have come out recently in celebrities that really are gorgeous and very modest. So let's take a look at some of them. First, let's look at Kate Middleton's dress, an iconic one. As you can see here, it's full length in terms of the sleeves and the dress length, of course. Lace. It's like it's a strapless dress, but then there's like the lace overlay on top of it. Very modest, very beautiful. There's no cleavage showing. It is a V-neck dress, but there's no cleavage showing. Yeah, one of the most iconic wedding gowns in history. Obviously very modern. A lot of women have tried to model this dress in their own wedding because it was just such a moment. And it was a modest moment. And then I got to show you Sophia Richie Grange. Like I said, I think this really was the wedding of the century. This went super viral. Her wedding went so viral. And Sophia's goal when I was reading her interview with Vogue was to get a very classic, timeless look. And even her makeup was fresh and pretty minimal. And the bridesmaids' dresses were very classic and timeless. And the whole wedding felt like old money, very classic and timeless. And I think her dress embodies this too. Look at this. It's a halter with a high neckline and very obviously no cleavage showing because it's a high halter top. And yeah, her shoulders are showing, but it's not a revealing dress whatsoever. And yet it is absolutely stunning. Look at the train of the veil. And even in the back of the dress, you can see here, it's not a low back either. There's nothing revealing about this dress. However, it is so, so beautiful. Let me see if I can find one more angle. Yeah, look at this. The beadwork is unbelievable. Just even the detail of the neckline. And I love that she just had her hair parted in the middle and pulled back into a simple bun. Amazing. And then, of course, her other one. This was actually my favorite one. This was her second wedding dress choice, I think. She did a ton of photos outside with her husband. I love this one. She's fully covered up. Long sleeve, long skirt, mock neck, pretty high. It's going up halfway to her neck. And I believe this was a vintage, maybe Chanel. I don't know. I'm not too big on high fashion designers, but I know this was like a vintage piece. And look at this, like feathering and beading. I think it's just absolutely stunning. Look at that. She's covered from head to toe. There's nothing, no skin showing in this dress, and yet it is so beautiful and high fashion. Look at these details. See it from the back here. Just a dress to remember. See, even here. Oh, I love that angle. Beautiful, beautiful. And then this is actually might be my favorite one. Lily Collins. Do you guys remember Lily Collins' wedding dress? This was, I forgot how many years ago, maybe 3 years ago, 2021, I think. She got married, if I remember correctly, up in the Redwoods in Northern California. And this dress is just, it is the moment. It is the moment of modesty. Look at that. Covered from head to toe. She even had like the veil. And you see the neckline here. So the neckline goes all the way up the neck. It's laced, no cleavage, no shoulder, no back. And then she had for the full outfit, she had the veil on as well. And she said in her caption, "Thank you, Ralph Lauren, for working so closely with me to dream up this magical dress. It's my ultimate dream combination of Western Americana and British Victorian." And I totally see that as well. "Carefully handcrafted over nearly 200 hours. Wow. Every detail was perfect, from the lace to the beaded microflowers, silk organza petals. It's the most beautiful, memorable gown I will ever wear, and I couldn't have imagined it any other way." I agree. This is just the most amazing look. So this is not about the fact that the dress was modest. There are so many modest wedding dresses out there. Miranda Kerr is actually also a good example. Here's Miranda Kerr's high neckline. This is actually more similar to Olivia's dress in the sense of the style she was going for. If you can see here, high neckline, long sleeve, cinched at the waist, and very, very long, voluminous skirt. And there's more detailing here that I think enhances Miranda's beauty, kind of brings out her personality, that sweet, feminine, floral, fun, playful look. So again, it's not about the fact that Olivia's dress was modest. It's just that, some people, including myself, feel like it could have just been more. And it looked like a t-shirt, So anyway, however, when this conversation was growing and getting more heated online, a lot of people on the right, who of course will support modesty in wedding dresses, they just could not hear the nuance of this conversation. They just kept thinking that any criticism of Olivia's dress was the fact that it was modest. So this is sometimes, and I've talked about this before, sometimes conservatives are just so bad when it comes to fashion and art and film and TV. They just have really bad taste in art. I don't know what it is about conservatives. Someone wrote a really good thread a few months ago about why conservatives are so bad at art. But there's a reason. Like, there's something about conservatives. It's just like, they just don't really get art. And I think fashion is a really good example of that. So they just globbed on to this concept that people were criticizing Olivia because her dress was modest, when that's not really the whole reason. There was some what's the word? Not criticism, but feedback and commentary about Olivia's dress just not really being the moment. And there was one conservative, Alex Clark. She's one of the TPUSA girls. She wrote a tweet. I didn't pull it up, but you can easily find it. She said, "The problem is not that the dress is modest. The problem is that she said it's absolutely atrocious." And she talked about the fit of the dress. It just wasn't quite right. Alex is one of those conservative girls that gets it. And a lot of conservatives were even replying to her, and they were like, "No, you just hate it because it's modest. You just dress like a hoe, whatever." But that's not what we're saying. So, two things can be true at once. Yeah, the TikTok girl, gown-eyed girl, she had a dumb commentary on what Olivia said to Vogue, but she did make some good points that most conservatives just cannot understand, is that for us, it just didn't hit the mark in terms of fashion, but that doesn't mean that it was because it was modest. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, this thing has blown up and everyone is now arguing about it. But I do see that anything that points to any sort of tradition, like Olivia obviously wanted a more traditional wedding and a traditional look, it does get attacked by progressive feminists. Just the idea of tradition. And it wasn't even like they were attacking her dress. They were just attacking her because Olivia was representing something that was a little bit more traditional. And she even hinted at that in her Vogue interview. And people just absolutely hated that. Because if you look at the comment section on some of her wedding dress photos, people are just saying horrible things. And they're, of course, like saying, you dress like a slut in your everyday life, and then you choose to just turn on the modesty for your wedding. It's so disingenuous, it's so dishonest. And they got like really, really mean about it. And I don't think there's any reason for that, but it's just further proof that anything traditional, again, really upsets the progressive feminists. They absolutely hate it. They don't like it. They would rather someone dress very revealing, and they only want you to talk about your values and your beliefs if they align with whatever your values and beliefs are. And I think this is just another example of why so many celebrities and influencers who do hold more traditional values, and there are plenty, they never speak up about it. Because if they do, like, they're so easily canceled. The mob comes after them. Other celebrities will disavow them. it's just not a very friendly time for any celebrities to come out and promote anything traditional. I mean, even for example, this is not about fashion or art, but Kristen Bell, she's married to Dax Shepard. She posted a video on 4th of July where I didn't watch the whole thing, but I know that her husband, they were in the car and he was turning to his kids in the back seat and he was telling them the story about his mother. His mother started working as like a janitor and she was making minimum wage. And he was telling the story about how she pulled herself up by her bootstraps. She started her own businesses. And she came from nothing and she worked so hard to get to where she is today. And she provided for her kids and she made a much better life for herself. And he was telling the story as like, this is what America offers. It's Independence Day. We're celebrating the 4th of July. And this is what you should know about our country is that you can do wonderful things even if you don't come from anything, even if you come from nothing. And Kristen Bell turned off the comments on that video preemptively. She said, I'm just going to turn off comments basically because I know it's going to get nasty. And that's because that's a pretty traditional message saying that you can accomplish anything you want to accomplish in this country, regardless of what your background is, because of the opportunity that the United States has to offer. That's a fairly traditional, you could even say a fairly conservative message. But they turned off the comments because they knew that the mob would go crazy after them. And that it's a little similar. It's parallel to this. Olivia hints at anything traditional. She hints at wanting to be modest. And that's what people are actually attacking. They're not even really attacking her dress. They're attacking her because she dared to speak some values to Vogue that were slightly traditional. So that's the big controversy over her wedding. And at the end of the day, what do they say? All press is good press. And it's true. A lot of people discovered who Olivia was. They didn't even know her before. And I'm sure a lot of people on the right who were defending her, they probably had never heard of her before either. But this whole kerfuffle has put her on the map for a lot of other people. But all in all, I mean, look at this video. They're just, they're just beautiful people. I'm happy for them. They're both incredibly good looking, classy. Look at the nieces and nephews. So cute. And then look at these comments. Since everyone felt like commenting, the priest told them we weren't quite there yet. Okay, so there are comments about the actual wedding. They're so cute together. And then one person says, I don't understand why she had to look Amish. She could have worn a dress that was not sexy and still done better than this. She doesn't look Amish. Come on. You don't have to be mean about it. I mean, look, I think she could have done better with the dress too, but she doesn't look Amish. Anyway, so that's the whole drama with Olivia Culpo. I'd love to know what you guys think, especially the ladies in the comment section. Did you like this dress? Did you like her other dresses? What do you think about this controversy? Is it even worth the lactic acid? I do think that it points to something very important in our culture right now, which is that most of the time, anything that is modest and traditional, it's either not understood or it's highly criticized. So but at the end of the day, even though it wasn't a dress that I particularly loved, I do think that it's a good moment for the culture. Just like Sophia Richie's wedding was a good moment for the culture, because when you have these kinds of influencers, Ballerina Farm, for example, too, when you have these Nara Smith, these women who lean more towards the traditional side of things, when they just do beautiful things and they look good doing it, it sends a good message to young women. And I've said this many times before, how are we going to win the culture back? It's not by lecturing or scolding people or telling women, you must dress this way or you're a hoe. None of that is actually helpful. What's much more helpful, and this is what the right does not understand, conservatives, it just goes over their heads. These influencers like Olivia Culpo, Sophia Richie, Ballerina Farm, Nara Smith, even if they're not outwardly politically conservative, and I would venture to say that someone like Sophia Richie is actually more liberal, but just the way that they live their lives fabulously, beautifully, they do great fashion that's generally usually modest. They're into marriage. They're into motherhood. Olivia's not a mom yet, obviously, but Sophia Richie just had her first child, which I think was like a couple of days apart from mine. And so all of these people are about kids and marriage and motherhood, more traditional values. And just seeing them live their life this way is much more influential to the younger generation than the old Republicans. Yeah, you need to dress this way because you're going to look like a slut if you don't. And men aren't going to value you. And scolding women all the time. It doesn't help. Gen Z. I think the younger women respond much more to this. You see this, and this is aspirational. This is fabulous. This is like covetable. This is what you want. Oh my gosh. A beautiful man who wants to marry me and have a traditional wedding day. I want that. I want to get married and then 6 months later have a fabulous pregnancy like Sophia Richie did. You know, this is doing more for the culture than mean conservatives online who scold women. I've done a whole episode on that before. You can go back and watch it. I did a whole coverage on like Sophia Richie and her wedding and her pregnancy and all that, and how she makes marriage and motherhood look much more attractive than anybody on the right does. So I think we need more of this. Let's move on to the Dazed magazine cover. This is going to be a fun one. But first, here's a message from our sponsor. Did you know that most diaper companies donate money to abortion funds and support abortion campaigns? That's why I'm so proud to partner with Every Life Diapers. This pro-life company is openly supportive of mothers, children, families, and the right to life. And they have a wonderful product. Both of my kids use these diapers. Not only are they easy to use and they're comfortable, but they're leak-free, so you don't have to worry about those messes in the middle of the night. I have never had a blowout mess since using Every Life Diaper with my newborn baby, which is very, very rare. I love the product, and I also, of course, love supporting Every Life in their mission. It is so rare today to find a company that is openly pro-life and openly supportive of mothers and families. So that's why I'm so proud to be supporting Every Life, and you can support them too while also getting a fantastic product. Use my code 10GINA for 10% off of your first order with Every Life. And even if you're not a mom and if you don't have kids that are in diapers, it makes a great gift. So if you know a mom who's about to have her first child, or you know families that have multiple kids who are in diapers, this makes a fantastic gift. So use my code 10GINA at checkout and support this amazing company that has an amazing product. Okay, here's the Dazed headline. Take a look at this. How fruity boys became the new soft boys. The modern woman supposedly wants a man with a zesty aura, but what's behind this new dating trend? And here's a picture of, I forgot his name, but he played the younger Prince Charles in The Crown. He was just in the Challengers. I forgot this guy's name. Josh something, maybe? Let's take a look. Josh something. Anyway, they're putting him as like the cover. Josh O'Connor is his name. And in this article, it says, male celebrities such as Josh O'Connor, Timothy Chalamet, Harry Styles, Jaden Smith, Paul Mescal, have all been labeled soft boys or fruity. From O'Connor's visit to the Chelsea Flower Show, Mescal playing sensitive and queer characters on screen, to Styles' flamboyant sense of style and venture into the beauty world through his brand pleasing. All of these men are labeled as being fruity, either because of their proximity to queerness, through being queer or playing queer on screen, or through their engagement and behaviors regarded as feminine. They have also been described by various media outlets as being the opposite of toxic masculinity. I thought we were done with that term. Like, that term is so 2015. Can we throw it away forever, please? It doesn't even mean anything anymore. Anyway, to continue, even though we don't know how any of these men behave in their personal lives, and one of them is rumored to dump women in parks and then flee the scene at full pelt. While men like this were once insulted for not adhering to the standards of idealized masculinity, being derogatorily labeled as metrosexual or simply as gay, there is a palpable desire that has been growing for the last few years for effeminate men. But why? So, do more women want effeminate men? Whenever this was shared on Twitter, I forgot who shared this, but her tweet went viral. This is how I found this article. She shared this and she said, no, this is a lie. Women don't actually want fruity boys. And I was like, actually, you may not want them. I don't want them. And maybe our friend circles don't want fruity guys because we hang out with people who are similar to us. But this article is actually kind of right. There are a lot of women right now who are into effeminate men. They are very into guys like Josh O'Connor and Timothy Chalamet. Very much into them. The guys who are like more beta, in touch with their feelings. They wear flowers and shit. And they like, I don't know, like Timothy Chalamet's looks on the red carpet over the last several years, like totally shirtless with a blazer. Like he looks kind of gay, but he's not gay because he's totally into women. He just looks feminine, you know? Oh, and Harry Styles' famous Vogue cover. This is probably like 8 years ago at this point, where he was wearing the dress. And it wasn't even a good looking dress. Like it just looked bad on him. It was like ill fitting and ugly. Anyway, so all of these moments are really just it's proof that women do actually want men who are a bit more feminine. And that has contributed to the rise of stars like Timothée Chalamet. I actually do think he's a great actor, though. I've seen him in a lot of things, and I think he's a really good actor. Big fan of him in terms of acting. But just the popularity of these guys now, even what's his name? The Irish guy, Barry Keoghan? I don't know how to say his last name, but he was in Saltburn. He's been in a few things. Anyway, he's kind of in that category too. Like when he goes on the red carpet, people jokingly say, but seriously, he looks like a lesbian. Like these guys, they just like look feminine. And women are really into that now. So this article is not lying. A lot of women are into it. And if you think about like the celebrities of like 10 to 15 years ago who were like in their prime, like Jake Gyllenhaal, I mean, I would say he's like still in his prime, especially after that movie, the fighting movie, The Roadhouse. I think that was like peak Jake Gyllenhaal in The Roadhouse, if you ask me. But I don't know. I've always thought that men in their like 40s and early 50s are like in their peak. I've always thought this since I was like 20 years old. I feel like men in their 40s and 50s are just like, they're at the peak of life. So I think Jake Gyllenhaal looks better than ever. But maybe it's because I'm a millennial and I like, grew up with him being like one of the guys. Anyway, it's like Ryan Gosling, Jake Gyllenhaal. You think about all these, like the Hemsworth brothers, these are all very, very masculine guys that were much more popular with my generation growing up when I was a teenager and young preteen and stuff like that. Right. So like now you can't deny that women are really, really into the effeminate man thing. Why is that? So there's a lot of different factors here. Obviously, one of the biggest factors is just the cultural push. What has our culture been pushing for the last 10 years? Gender is a social construct. Gender does not truly exist. Men can be women. Women can be men. There are no such things as female attributes or male attributes. It's only what has been socially constructed, which is obviously so stupid. Like, can we get rid of this? Can we get rid of this idea once and for all? Like, have you ever met a man or met a woman? Of course, we're inherently different. Of course, there are general personality differences. It doesn't mean that every single woman will adhere to all of the feminine personality traits and every single man will adhere to all the masculine personality traits. But for the most part, yeah, women act a certain way and men act a certain way. Yeah, for the most part. But, our culture has been pushing this idea that gender is just a social construct. So, of course, that means that there are no inherent qualities of either gender. And this is, if you really take a step back and look at the bird's eye view, and the broader issue here is that this is all a way to create chaos and break down order in our society. And that's what the progressive left has been doing for many years now, intentionally, is breaking down the natural order of things. They want to break down order and they want to break down beauty, which, remember, I've said this in many episodes in the past, these two are very important pillars of Christianity, especially traditional Christianity. You need order and you need beauty because both are reflective of God. Beauty and order come from God. Our God is not a God of chaos. Our God is a God of order. You can see that in the Orthodox Church. It's very, very ordered. Even the Roman Catholic Church, which, is schismatic according to us Orthodox, but they have maintained order, even that more traditional Western version of Christianity. Now, as when you get to the Protestant churches and the 30,000 different denominations there, it becomes more and more chaotic. The further and further you go away from traditional Christianity, the more chaotic it gets. But I digress. They are trying to destroy order and chaos. And how do you destroy order? You destroy the family unit. You destroy marriage, you destroy motherhood. And of course, you do that by destroying the idea of gender, because you need gender to have a proper marriage. You need gender to have proper mothers and proper fathers and raise proper children to have a strong family. So with this cultural push to get rid of gender, they're now pushing all of these new male celebrities who are fruity. Like, this article is very accurate from what I've read so far. They would have been considered metrosexual 20 years ago. Even 20 years ago, you would have seen somebody like them and like, that's so gay. Why are they dressed that way? But now it's just like a thing. They're just, comfortable with their sexuality. They're comfortable with their flexible masculinity. And then later in this article, it says, I think so many straight women feel entirely misunderstood by their boyfriends or husbands because straight men are socialized to dislike anything remotely feminine. I like the fact that my husband doesn't like feminine things. I don't know why you as a woman would want your boyfriend or husband to like feminine things. Wouldn't it be like very off-putting? Like, I think it's off-putting when men gossip like little girls. I'm like, are you okay? Why are you gossiping like a girl? That's a girl thing to do. But, you know, all these young people, all the Gen Z and the younger ones, they love men that are fruity and gay. But here's another big reason why women are so into gay guys now. The birth control pill. And you think I'm crazy for saying this. You can call me a conspiracy theorist. You can call me a kook, call me a quack, whatever. You can call me whatever you want to call me. I don't care. There's actual science proving this, that women who are taking the birth control pill are attracted to more effeminate men. They've done research on this, and they've shown pictures of men to women who are on the pill versus to women who aren't on the pill, or women who are no longer on the pill. And women who are on the pill, they are more attracted to the feminine look and feminine structure of men's faces. And that has to do with the change of hormones in your body. And people think this is crazy, but if you actually understood the way that your hormones work and the way that your hormonal cycle and your menstrual cycle is deeply related to your sexuality. Of course, these are all sex hormones. So however your menstrual cycle has a big impact on what your sexual desires are, even down to, obviously, like when you ovulate, women, when you ovulate, you are much more easily aroused because your body wants to get pregnant. And how do you get pregnant? Through intercourse. I know you want to deny biology because the progressive left wants to deny biology all the time, but I'm sorry, you can't deny it. Different parts of your menstrual cycle will result in different desires sexually. And so when you completely override your natural hormonal cycle, which is when your progesterone rises at a different time of your cycle, which is right after you ovulate, versus when your estrogen rises in your cycle before you ovulate. When you take all of these natural hormonal fluctuations away, you take away all of the woman's natural sexual desires, because that's where your sexual desires really come from. They're deeply related to your hormones. And what does a birth control pill do? It shuts down the connection between your brain and your ovaries. It shuts down ovulation, and it replaces it with a synthetic hormonal cycle where your natural estrogen and natural progesterone have completely plummeted, which, by the way, is exactly what happens in menopause. So this is why they say the birth control pill puts you in a menopausal state. Because when you are in menopause, estrogen and progesterone significantly plummet. Like they're all the way down to the bottom. They don't fluctuate anymore. And when you're on the pill, same thing happens because it replaces it with progestin, which is the synthetic form of progesterone, and synthetic estrogen. They do not function the same way because they're synthetic. They don't function the same way in your body as the natural hormones do, which means that you will have very different sexual desires. No wonder you're attracted to different types of men. How many stories have we heard recently of women who were on the pill for 5, 10, even 15 years? They met their soon-to-be husband, they got married, and then a couple years into marriage, they're like, oh, you know what? I want to have kids. Okay, honey, maybe stop taking the pill. All right. She tosses the birth control pill in the trash can, and then she looks at her husband in a couple of months, and she's like, I'm not sexually attracted to you. What are you? Because even the way that you interact with their pheromones is different. You smell your husband differently. You smell the man differently depending on what your sex hormones are doing. And now all of a sudden you have a totally different system of sex hormones in your body because you chucked the birth control pill. And you have a totally different hormonal cycle now than you did 10 years ago before you started taking the pill. And then a lot of women realize they're not attracted to their boyfriend or their husband anymore when they get off the pill. So yeah, I do think that mass amounts of women, especially young women who are taking the pill, are more and more attracted to these feminine men now because it's just how it is. They're more and more attracted to these feminine men because of the lack of estrogen, because it really is the estrogen rising. That's the connection that makes you more attracted to masculine men. And they've done research on this too. When estrogen surges in your body, which is right before ovulation, you're more attracted to masculine men and men doing masculine things. That's because for the good of the human race, you got to procreate, right? So you got to be attracted to men in order to do that. So yeah, women are into fruity men, but it's not because we are breaking through any barriers of gender. It's because of the cultural pressures, and it's because of the mass amounts of women taking the birth control pill. And now it's being given to women when they're like 15 years old. Oh, welcome to the OBGYN, honey. You have heavy periods. You have irregular cycles. You have menstrual cramps. Here you go, babe. Take the pill. It's going to make everything better. And don't forget, like I've covered many times on my show, Girls who start taking the birth control pill in their teenage years are much more likely to develop a lifetime risk of depression and anxiety and suicidal ideations. Because when you start taking the pill before your own hormonal cycle has fully developed and fully matured, and you mess up that system before it's fully matured, it has detrimental consequences on the rest of your life, including your fertility and who you're attracted to. So that's that. Okay, so we could cover right now, the meal prep video. So, but I think I might be running out of time. So we'll cover it next time. This is fun though. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the show, share it with your friends. Tell me more in the comments section. We will cover this next segment in the next episode. Okay. Because I got to run. We're out of time this time. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye. See you next time.